Well, the House is expected to vote on a deal to raise the debt ceiling today. It's everything really we've been talking throughout the past couple of weeks. The Fiscal Responsibility Act would suspend the debt limit for 2 years and cut $1.5 trillion in spending over the next 10 years. It would claw back billions of dollars in COVID relief and IRS funding and also end President Biden's freeze on student loan payments come August.
President Biden and Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, they say they're confident they have the votes, but a growing number of members are slamming the deal that they brokered. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries says he told his caucus, the Democrats, that he supports the bill.
I support it without hesitation, reservation, or trepidation. Not because it's perfect, but in divided government, we, of course, cannot allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good.
Republican Congressmen Garrett Graves of Louisiana and Patrick McHenry of North Carolina, who helped negotiate the deal. Both of them join us now to talk about where the deal stands. Congressman Graves, let's start with you. You know, some of your fellow Republican colleagues are railing against this bill. Congresswoman Nancy Mace says you got fleeced 100%. That's her quote. So if this is such a good bill, why are more than 30 Republicans against it right now?
Yeah, look, you can go back and look at where the White House started on this. They said they wouldn't negotiate, said they wouldn't allow for work requirements, wouldn't allow for any funds taken from the IRS agents that they've trying to fund now, trying to hire. They said they wouldn't negotiate any type of environmental regulation or streamlining, yet every single one of those things is in the bill plus more. You've got to talk about the options that are truly on the table versus those that are imaginary or folks are hallucinating over. In this case, you have the greatest savings in American history, the greatest spending reduction in American history. We're going back and we're actually reinstalling the role of Congress in regard to balance of powers by doing this administrative pay-go or authority on preventing the president from waving a wand and taking action without the involvement of Congress, and all sorts of other wins in here. This is truly historic what has been negotiated. We're always going to take the best deal versus the imaginary one.
All right, let's talk about the numbers. Congressman McHenry, let's just get to the math here. In a surprise turn, numbers from the Congressional Budget Office's assessment show that the stricter work requirements that you and other Republicans demanded actually increased spending by $2 billion and made 78,000 more people eligible for the assistance. So tell me how that math makes sense.
Well, it's bad math. First of all, what we do is raise the age requirement up to 54 that have to be a part of the work program in order to get SNAP benefits. We also add important exclusions to that, those that are homeless, veterans, and those right out of foster care. And so the analysis by the Congressional Budget Office is short-sighted because they don't incorporate the fact that we ratchet down the exclusions the states can take and the exceptions they have to the program, which many states are gaming. We eliminate that gamesmanship and ratchet down the exclusions. So over time, we'll have greater savings in the SNAP program. But the bigger piece here is that we believe the value of work is important. The value of work in order to get a government benefit for those who are able-bodied without children in the home is really an essential ingredient, and our program actually ensures that that happens over time. And so we think it's a fundamentally conservative solution, and we think the score at the Congressional Budget Office is incomplete.
So the CBO is wrong on that one. And Congressman Graves, let me ask you about this other CBO estimate, Congressional Budget Office estimate, on the rescinding of funds for the IRS. CBO says that would mean less enforcement, and as a result, they say, less revenue. They estimate that while spending would decrease on the IRS by $1.4 billion over the next 10 years, revenue would therefore decrease by $2.1 billion. So again, doing the math here, that's a net loss of $900 million. Is taking money from the IRS going to lose money? It's kind of common sense that it would. What do you say?
So first of all, I've never had a constituent ever say, hey, could you please get more IRS agents? Hasn't ever happened. Secondly, we're rescinding $1.4 billion. $1.4 billion because what this administration's trying to do is they're trying to weaponize the IRS. What the IRS needs is they need better technology. I had to submit my own tax return 4 separate times, the same tax return. This is outrageous. They need to work on their customer service. They don't need to go out there and go attack American citizens that are law-abiding and trying to pay their taxes. We're happy to work with the IRS and Department of Treasury on solutions that make sense, tech upgrades and others. They don't need to go out there and go hire an army of officers attacking people's tax returns. We need to go hire an army of officers securing our southern border.
Well, it is a hassle for a lot of people to file their taxes. Far too complicated, but it does fund all the good things the government does. Congressman McHenry, though, let's talk politics. Do you think there's enough support in Congress to pass this bill tonight?
Yes, there is. In a bipartisan negotiation and divided government, we know that you have a divided outcome. Both parties have to participate in the vote in the House and the Senate, and a Democrat president has to sign this. So our expectation is we'll pass the bill this evening, with Republicans carrying the lion's share of the vote, but Democrats voting for it as well. Then it'll go to the Senate. We hope that they'll be able to process that bill quickly enough before the X date of the debt ceiling. This is a tough deal that we've negotiated, but it is fundamentally conservative in the reforms we attach to it and the fiscal restraint that we put as a part of it, and we think it's worthy of support.
Congressman Graves, what are you saying to the dozens of your Republican colleagues, though, who are planning to vote against this deal?
Look, if you listen to their messaging, what they're saying is they want to see even greater savings. They want to see greater spending reductions. I think I can speak for Congressman McHenry and say that we absolutely share those objectives. But what you have to do in a situation like this is you have to look at the various alternatives and choose the one that's best. In this case, we're going to be saving, your statistics say $1.5 trillion. We've estimated actually $2 trillion in savings. If you look at the 6 years of budget caps we put in this bill that's going to limit spending. If you look at the rescissions in funding, this is the greatest rescission or taking back of funding from federal agencies in American history. In fact, if you look at all of them in history and combine them, this one is even greater. We're putting work requirements in place, strengthening them, as Congressman McHenry said. We're coming in and eliminating this pause on the student loans. We're streamlining environmental laws. There is no question that this is the best deal we're going to get. You got to keep in mind, we have a Democrat majority Senate, we have a Democrat president, and we have negotiated the absolute best deal in American history in regard to savings. This is the best deal that's available. We're not going to go out there and go mislead the American people and make them think that there's an illusion of a fifth or sixth option out there. This is the greatest savings. These are the greatest reforms. We're excited about voting for it, supporting it, and watching this paradigm shift begin in Washington.
Well, the NAACP would say just the opposite. They put out this statement saying, let's be clear, while the original intent of the debt ceiling was to solve a practical challenge of paying the nation's bills during World War I, it has become a weapon used by conservative extremists to hold the lives and livelihoods of Black America and countless others hostage. Congressman McHenry, what do you say to that?
Well, this was not about that. It was about ensuring we raise the debt ceiling. House Republicans were the only ones to pass a plan to raise the debt ceiling, and we did so about 6 weeks ago. That brought a Democrat president who refused to negotiate this year and listened to Chuck Schumer's bad strategy here and said he would not negotiate with the Republican Speaker of the House. Republicans passed a plan out of the House that cut spending and ensured we had greater economic growth and raised the debt ceiling. The Senate Democrats in the majority there couldn't produce anything. They couldn't produce a clean debt ceiling increase. They couldn't produce any bill to raise the debt ceiling. House Republicans led, and that's why the president negotiated with the Speaker for this outcome that we have today. And the conservative policy agenda that we have attached to this debt ceiling is worthy of the support of my Republican friends and those that want to raise the debt ceiling otherwise.
And Kira, if I can just jump in real quick. Look, I come from a majority Black hometown. If you think I would go do something that affects the majority of the people we're representing in my hometown, that's just absurd. That is a mischaracterization of this legislation, and I can tell you that neither one of us would ever do something like that.
We'll be following every move throughout the afternoon into the evening. Congressman Garrett Graves, also Patrick McHenry. Appreciate you both. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.